Welcome to another edition of the Live Well and Fully podcast. Through this podcast, we help women remember that they matter too. We spark new insights on changes they might desire for in their own lives so they can step forward confidently and turn their dreams into reality.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Live Well and Fully. I'm Barbara Decker, and I'm on the East Coast of the United States. And I'm here with Suzy Rosenstein. Suzy, where are you today?
I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
East Coast too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good for you. To the listeners, Suzy has an upbeat, fun approach to help you thrive and learn to love your life again in midlife. And she hosts Women in the Middle podcast. And so the title of our interview today is How to Love Your Life Again in Midlife. And isn't that a challenge for so many of us moms who have given so much to others and now maybe want to do something for ourselves? So I'm going to start the timer, and then we will go with 7 questions in 7 minutes. So question 1, Suzy, how do you help women in the second half of their life create an extraordinary life?
Well, as a mindset coach, a midlife mindset coach, I help women to go from like being stuck and confused to excited about their lives again. And in the nutshell, what that means is I use a 3-step approach that I call the FUN approach, F-U-N, to help them get clear about what they want and have the courage and confidence to put themselves first and go after it. So F stands for find your thoughts. U stands for understand what you want. And N stands for nurture your commitment. That's what I do. That's how we roll.
I love that. You're very good with the acronym. Lovely. Thank you. So number 2, what is the problem you solve?
The main problem is really feeling so stuck and confused. And many of us call that feeling blah or gray. We're just not having fun anymore. We're not fulfilled. We don't feel like we have a sense of purpose. We feel like life is passing us by and we're wasting time. So I have a feeling your listeners can relate to that. So what I call it is regret proofing your life. Like we need to focus on not having regrets.
Agree. That's beautiful. Thank you. Question 3, and we still have 5.5 minutes left. Look how we're popping along here. What are the typical symptoms that people experience when they have that problem that you solve?
Well, I mentioned a couple of them just now, feeling stuck. And that really is the language that people use. And I was stuck for 5 years. That's certainly what I was whining about. I'm so stuck. You definitely know that you're wasting time and you find yourself spinning on thoughts. That's what I call it. You keep revisiting the same kind of thinking. And it's often, I just don't know what I want. And the other thing about feeling so stuck in midlife is you're sensitive to the passage of time more than ever before. So you feel like you're wasting valuable time. You're becoming more and more aware that there just must be more out there for me. It's like, but you just feel so frustrated. And unlike ever before, you just don't know what it is or how to get it.
Yeah, I agree. The older I get, the more likely I am to say to somebody, look, would you get to the point, please? I have a limited number of minutes left. And I'd really like not to spend 5 times the needed amount on this particular question.
Hence the format of your podcast. Chop,
Yes.
chop.
Yes. What are the common mistakes that people make when they're trying to solve that problem independently, when they're actually stuck and just trying to push through it?
Okay, that's a great question. So this might sound a little weird, but one of the main mistakes is believing that you can't get unstuck. So that belief that you can't get unstuck becomes a problem because what ends up happening is that you feel terrible when you think this way. Just think it. Oh, I just don't know what to do. I can't get unstuck. You feel lost or hopeless or disconnected from capability, something like that. And as humans, what happens is the actions we take when we feel a certain way just prove our thoughts. So we end up perpetuating this type of thinking that we don't even think is optional. It doesn't feel optional at all when you are so in your stuckness. The other problem is that you might just start changing stuff. without really understanding what you want. So for example, if you're frustrated that you've been in a job too long, you might just feel some urgency to just switch jobs, but you don't really understand that maybe you want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe you want to work part-time, or maybe you need education for the thing you really want, but the fear is probably in the way. And you're very unaware of this. You just want to solve the problem. But again, without looking at the thoughts and your mindset about what's actually going on, you're not going to have an effective solution.
You're right. And don't we all default to the thought patterns that are habit for us?
Absolutely. And by this time, we've had decades cementing those thoughts.
Yeah. And so trying to think another way really does need someone guiding us and someone maybe pointing out what appears then to us as obvious.
Absolutely.
Point it out.
Absolutely. We think in very black and white terms, and things seem very factual. And when you have a neutral coach helping you, pointing out things that you just never thought about in different ways, you didn't even know you could.
Right. And then you say, duh, why didn't I think of that? And
I've had many moments like that with my own coaches.
yeah, me too. Okay, question 5. What is one valuable free resource that you offer that you can direct people to help them with this problem?
Awesome. It's called Top 10 Questions to Reimagine Your Life. And you can get it at www.suzyrosenstein.com. That's SUZY Rosenstein, ROSENSTEIN, SuzyRosenstein.com/10 questions. And it's the number 10, just 10.
And we will put that link directly below the podcast for the listeners so they can scroll right down and click on it.
Perfect.
6, what is one tip a listener can use now themselves that will help them solve this problem?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked that. So really, again, this might sound kind of like, come on, Suzy, really? And yeah, really. Notice the way you're thinking about being stuck or confused and what you want. So just notice what it is you're thinking. Slow down, be curious. And then we want to catch that thought and then tweak it and play with it a little bit to help you shift your emotions. So if you're thinking, I just don't know what I want, you could tweak it to something like, I'm learning to figure out what I want. It's a subtle change, but instead of pulling you away from working on it, you lean in. Oh, I'm learning. I don't have any resistance to learning. I'm good at learning. I'm learning to figure out what I want. And that thought will create a much more like a useful emotion for you to take action.
That's genius. I love the way you express that.
Perfect.
Finally, question 7. What should I have asked you that I didn't? And what's the answer to that thing I should have asked you and didn't?
I smiled when I saw this question. The question is, what happens on your podcast, Women in the Middle? And it's all about learning how to love your life again. So I interview interesting guests who have done just that. And people find that very inspirational to talk to somebody who was very stuck and has moved forward. And I also coach you on a variety of relevant topics, like how to be more intentional about empty nest, career boredom, thoughts about aging. We don't know how negative we are about aging. Terrible. And generally how to live more intentionally and how to think on purpose. And I add lots of funny stories and also references to our childhood to make lots of points and just to help you get perspective and learn with ease and self-compassion. You'll definitely come away knowing that you're not alone, and I believe you'll be totally inspired.
Excellent. We will also put the link to Suzy's podcast below this interview, so you can go there and check out some episodes and see which inspire you most. And that's a wrap. And so, Suzy, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I think your answers were insightful, and your personality is truly bubbly and engaging. And I'm sure you make friends everywhere you go. So I really appreciate you being here. And to everyone listening, I hope you find a pocket of joy today because you are so worth it. Bye for now. Talk soon.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to be notified when new episodes are released. Then visit www.livewellandfully.com/workshop to experience the Love Another Way framework firsthand.